hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Kingdom Come Deliverance, Blind. Now I'm running because I assume I don't really have time to stop. I am very tempted by all of those nettles, let me tell you that, but last episode Skalitz has been invaded and my parents have been killed. So, I'm in quite a bit of trouble, I would say. And I'm supposed to run to a place called Talmberg and warn them about that army that has attacked Skalitz. What's happening here? Help Teresa get away. Well, I did what I could, which is, I guess, dying. Okay, this is going to be fun. I can already see that. A village lad like you has no chance of defeating the fearsome Cumans. Better to run and save your skin. Yeah, I was trying to do that, and there is a very nice graphical motif displaying the Danse Macabre, which was like one of the sort of main sort of staples of medieval art, because people in the Middle Ages were obsessed with death. Like they were obsessed with the thought of their own mortality. It had a lot to do with religion, I imagine, as well, and with the presumption that we are all sinful and basically life sucks and is short and we will all die soon. So Danse Macabre, dancing skeletons were a thing that actually happened quite a lot in medieval art, and generally the idea is, it was this mad dance of like dead people of all walks of life, which was supposed to represent the fact that before death, we are like in the moment of death, we are all equal. It's like the great equalizer of the world, because once we die, we all join, the same party, as it were. So let's try again by reloading this. Actually, speaking of Danse Macabre, I'm pretty sure there is a very extensive lexicon, like a codex, in the game, and I would imagine it would probably mention it somewhere. I will most likely dedicate a couple of episodes, like all on their own, just to reading the codex, because I think it's the best way to do it, because that way, if you're not interested in it, you can just skip it altogether. Whereas I myself, am very much interested in it. Okay, she's getting raped. Can I do anything about that? Okay, I did something. But the problem is, I have no idea where I'm actually going. Like, I hope Henry himself will say something to let me know which way am I supposed to be going.
Left. Talmberg is to the left, along the stream.
To the left, you say? Okay. So I imagine it's this way. I really hope...
Go! They'll kill you all!
Yeah, it seems that's what's happening. I'm also bleeding, which, you know, there is actually a danger of me bleeding out, I imagine. And also I think my horse is getting tired, or like scared. Well, obviously,
They've tore Skalitz.
most likely it's not a war horse. It has not been trained for combat, right? So, you know, it is most likely like a work animal. So it has never been in a combat situation. So it's totally understandable. It's spooked out by, you know, the sounds of a battle, and, you know, people shouting and screaming, and the clanking of steel. But I think it's also getting tired. Like, I think it's periodically slowing down, which is a bit of a problem really for me, because okay, I already see the castle, which I assume that must be Talmberg.
Oh my God! Wait! Jesus Christ!
Help! Skalitz has been attacked! Do something! Help!
Quickly, everyone! Get your asses here!
Hey! And loose! Halt you! Hosungine!
They're turning tail! No better, eh? Quickly! We're closing the gate!
Someone give him a drink. And bring hot wine and bandages. Tell me, boy, who are you and where are you from? What in hell's name happened?
I've come from Skalitz. They burned it to the ground. Slaughtered everyone.
Who? Who burned it to the
A
ground?
huge army. They attacked without warning. And they weren't Czechs or Germans either.
Who then?
I don't know. I've never seen armor like it or heard their language. Maybe Tatars?
Tartars, you say? Yeah. Well, we'll deal with that later. First, let's have a look at that leg of yours.
I don't know.
Grit your teeth, boy. I'm gonna pull that arrow out. Easy. All done. You were lucky, lad. The arrow missed the bone. It only needed bandaging, and I've done that often enough before. War is a good teacher. Can you stand? There you go. Good as new.
Thank you.
If you idlers nothing better to do, get back to work. You'll have to speak to Lord Divish. Can you manage? Sir, this is a survivor from...
I heard, Robard. Tell me, boy, what exactly happened? Did you see the ensigns of the attackers? And were there any more survivors?
So, I don't know what army it was, but it was huge. There were dozens of banners flying on the hill above Skalitz. The ones who did the slaughtering spoke a strange language. They burned Skalitz to the ground, but a lot of people took refuge in the castle. I wasn't quick enough. And as I fled, they shouted from the battlements that I should come and warn you.
The soldiers the boy didn't recognize. They could be those Cumans of Sigismund's. It said they came to Hungary from the east, and now they're the core of his army. Sacking Kuttenberg must have given him a taste for stolen silver.
Skalitz is a small castle, sir. If Sigismund attacks, they can't hold.
Indeed, Sir Robard. And our small garrison would be no help, even if we could risk sending them.
You think we're next in line?
Maybe. What's your name, boy?
I'm Henry, son of the Skalitz blacksmith.
I know him. Did he make it inside the castle? I'm sorry. It's in God's hands now. No one else can help us. Anyway, thank you for risking your neck to warn us. Robard, take care of Henry. Make sure he gets something to eat and some rest.
Yes, sir.
And get all the people inside the gates. We have to prepare for the worst. Make all the necessary arrangements.
As you command, sir.
Okay, talk to Sir Robard. I will. However, I am very hungry, so perhaps I should eat something. And also, I'm a little tired, but perhaps I should speak to them first. You know,
He brought just over half yesterday.
Sacre. That's not what we agreed. When you've got a moment, go and see him, and tell him to come here without delay. I want to have a word with him.
I'll do that, sir.
I'll knock the dust out of his apron, the scoundrel.
You're in a private area. Okay, so I'm not supposed to go this way. But yeah,
Hey,
maybe
who's there?
maybe I shouldn't have them wait too long, because obviously they are nobles. They probably won't have that much patience for a common man. But I will eat something. Like I will eat a couple of apples. What's that? Ah, resistance, the perk. Okay. I will eat bread because it gives very good nourishment. Okay, I'm still hungry. Lockpicking hard, so I'm not supposed to go this way either. This is a very nice room. Like, oh, I guess that's what? Adam and Eve? Eating from... Yeah, there's the serpent. Duh. Like, I didn't notice him at first. So, that's Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden committing the original sin. And I guess that's God watching, you know, the Lamb of God. Okay. Overall, that's a very nice room. And generally, like...
Still quite hungry.
Oh, there's even more, like murals and stuff. Some heraldry. And people. What's this showing? Is it like a... is it a... what's the word? And someone becoming a knight? Because he gets like a helmet and a lance. Or although, well, I guess he's gearing up. It's a St. George or something. Because he's fighting the dragon. Which, you know, he was supposedly known for that in that tale. And then there is a scene of someone being broken over a wheel. I guess that has to be a martyr of some sort, because he has a halo over his head. This is all very nice, and I wouldn't be surprised if those are actually one-to-one recreations of actual, actual art from the Middle Ages. Like, I doubt they made it for the game. I think they adapted it from something that exists somewhere. Maybe even in this specific castle in Talmberg, right? Because those are all historical locations, like the towns themselves. Obviously, probably not down to the exact layout, but I wouldn't be surprised if some major elements are actually taken one-to-one from real life. Okay, so I'm not supposed to go here because this is a private area, and I'm not supposed to go here because this is locked. So, that's a nice sort of showcase of how glass making worked in the Middle Ages, because the reason for that iron for that metal framework in the window is that it was impossible at the time to create like a very large sheet of glass. So they had to break it up by encasing it in this metal framework. Okay, let's go this way. I'm supposed to talk to that guy, Sir Robard. Would he be here? Lockpicking easy, but I am not about to steal from them. They have just taken me in. Okay, there's no one here. Hello? It's a small chapel. Okay, that's Christ and his disciples. That's Saint Peter, I guess, because he was like. That's Mary. Okay. That's Pilate. That's the Passion of Christ. That's Pilate's.
Don't you start. Oh well, I wouldn't mind a bite to eat, actually.
That's Pilate sentencing him. Then there's the flogging. There's the crown of thorns, carrying the cross, being crucified, dying on the cross. Then his body being taken. Blah blah blah, laid to the grave, and here's the resurrection. Okay, that's all very nice, and again, I'm pretty sure it has to be like taken directly from actual medieval art. There's also an altar, but I don't really know what it like. It shows two women with crowns, but I don't know who's that supposed to represent. Okay, let me look for that Sir Robard guy. I'm not exactly sure where to look, but to be honest, okay, you're in a private area. To be honest, I will have an urge. I already do have an urge to explore everything in this castle anyway. So, it doesn't hurt in the slightest that I have to walk around. Some nice battlements. Guard. Okay, so that's not him.
You! What the hell are you fooling around here for? Be off right now or I'll fucking see you off!
Oh damn it.
Something the matter?
I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And I've also broken my foot, because obviously I have the brittle bones, negative perk. Okay, so he doesn't...
Hey, you! What are you doing? Fuck off before I lose my temper!
Okay, okay. But how do I get out then? Well, I guess I have to run past him to get to the other side.
Hey! You've no business here.
Okay, so I guess that Sir Robard guy is somewhere lower, but for now, yeah, injured right leg and injured left leg. I'm also tired and hungry. I want to talk to him before I go to bed. He's waiting for me. Okay. Okay, let's talk.
You've done well, lad. I'm sorry for your loss. You must be all done in. Why don't you go to the kitchen and have a good meal? Sorrow is easier to bear on a full stomach. I heard about your father. They say he was a swordsmith who moved to the countryside to make horseshoes. I can't understand why he'd waste his talents, but I'm sure he had his reasons. Yeah.
Ah, milady. You are fortunate our good Lady Stephanie of Talmberg has graced us with her presence.
My lady, I'm honored.
So this is our brave young man. Welcome, lad. Bojena here will take care of you. No doubt you're tired and hungry.
Indeed. How could he not be, poor soul? After everything he's been through, he must be as hungry as a bear, aren't you, young master? Here you are, then. Eat your fill.
And a little wine to wash it down.
Thank you, my lady.
When you're done, you can go and rest with the grooms in the Outer Bailey.
No, that won't do, Sir Robard. After all he's been through, he deserves a proper bed. Let him sleep in a lodge in the courtyard.
Certainly, milady. Young Henry here is overwhelmed by your generosity.
Yes, yes. Thank you, my lady. May God reward you for your kindness.
Eat up now. You're in capable hands, so I'll leave you to it. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, man.
When you've done, you can sleep in the bedchamber of the courtyard lodge. And don't forget to take off those filthy boots before getting into bed.
Okay, so I should... Yeah, I've gotten quite a bit to eat. But to be honest, I probably need to eat my old food first, because there is a freshness rating to food, so it spoils after a time. So obviously, it makes most sense to eat old food first, and then keep the new food, you know, as okay, I guess it's shown here the condition. Keep the new food for later, right? Where's my nourishment? 29. Okay, I'm still pretty hungry. Okay, I think I'm okay now. Yeah, so I will take this, because they allow me to. It would be stupid not to. I'll have some more food for later. And after that, I think I will indeed go to bed. So I am pretty tired. I'm not about to steal anything. First of all, because that would be pretty rude. And second of all, obviously I would probably get in plenty of trouble. Anything to say? What's that status I've acquired right now? Overloading. You're carrying too much weight. Am I? What's taking so much space in my inventory? Oh, I have 200 nettles. Okay. I have to find someone to sell them to then. But I can also talk to the cook.
Greetings. What do you need?
Where's that chamber for me to sleep?
Evans, are you still confused after what happened to you? It's in the lodge in the courtyard.
Thank you. If I needed some food, who should I ask?
Who do you think, young man? Me, of course. And if you want something extra, I could help you out with that too.
Extra?
I'd like to buy something from you.
Of course, lad. Goodbye.
Okay, you just sell everyday, food items, which I'm not entirely interested in at the moment. Okay, villagers, blah blah blah. A lodge in the courtyard, you say? I can't sleep here. Not exactly sure what they mean by that, to be honest, but is this a private area? It is. Can sprint because I'm overloaded. The courtyard is here, right? So maybe they mean this? Okay, there's a well, a bunch of horses. Ah, that's Lord Divish's horse. With some nice sort of colorful draping. He specifically mentioned a bed. Okay, Nettles. Nice to meet you. It is a new place, so I have to inaugurate it correctly. They specifically mentioned a bed. So, is it one of those, maybe? A private area. Okay, so evidently not. Or maybe it is. Sleep. Okay, but not yet, I guess. I will explore the rest of the courtyard, just to be sure. Okay, it has to be this one, right? Because the gate is closed, and here's the, like the bailey itself. So stablemaster. Oh, he said something and I skipped it. I guess he asked about the attack on Skalitz. I guess I can tell him. What? Something is broken. Like his dialogue is like skipping. I have no idea what he said. And worst of all, I can't even reload because obviously I didn't save since the last episode, in fact, because of the limited saving. Did they torch Rovna? I think I ran through it and it was also destroyed. But this is my highest stat.
It was a fine sunny day until Sigismund came with his army. I saw him sitting there with his red beard and proud posture as he gave the signal to attack.
Oh no.
I ran to the castle for shelter with the others. Behind me I could hear the shouts of the attackers and the screams of the wounded. Then I turned and saw Father trying to save Mother. They were both killed. The gate was closed by then. The men on the battlements were calling to me to run and warn you here. And with God's help, I made it.
That's horrible. You were very fortunate to survive. And God bless you for warning us. I'll pray for you, lad.
Okay, it's a pity I unwittingly skipped the first part of that conversation, because I'm not even sure exactly what he asked. Obviously he asked about the attack, but what were the persuasion options about? Like, in response to what question exactly? Well, anyway, I will go to bed right here. And it will also... Oh, it doesn't save. It said sleep and save on some of the beds. Okay, how many hours do I need to sleep? Obviously enough to regenerate. But wait, what hour is it now? It's like new... No, wait. How does this work? There's sunrise. I don't think this is like a regular clock, because it doesn't make sense if the night hours... because obviously it's 24 hours, right? I must be pretty tired if I don't get that. Oh man, that's a little embarrassing, actually. But how long do I want to sleep? I would like to. Actually, I will. Oh, I can't sleep longer than 12 hours. Can't sleep any longer. Then let's do that, I guess. This way, I will, have replenished my energy in full, and is it going to be close-ish to sunrise? So I assume it's like somewhere over here. I'll be pretty hungry again, but let's do it, I guess.
Today the patrols will be doubled. Keep your eyes peeled. If you see anything out of the ordinary, report it immediately. Understood? Yes, sir.
Oh, he didn't take his boots off, despite what the guy implored him to do.
Yes?
It is I, Henry. Forgive the intrusion. I didn't wake you, boy, did I?
My lady... No, not at all. But what brings you here at this hour?
I thought you could do with a little wine. It's just what you need to help you sleep.
My lady, thank you. You really shouldn't. You could have sent a servant.
I was going to, but to tell you the truth, I couldn't sleep either. I thought of you while saying my prayers. How awful it must have been for you. I came to offer you solace, to let you know you're not alone.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
You're welcome. Now, Henry, I know this is all very new and strange for you, but I want you to feel at home here. You're not to worry about anything except getting better. God knows you've been through a terrible ordeal. I know what it is to be left alone in the world, although your loss is much greater. But with God's help, the pain will ease in time. And it can help to talk about it, if you feel like it.
Yeah, I will talk about it. Like, to be honest, I don't think there is a right or wrong answer here. Obviously, it depends. It depends on a particular person. How much time do they need, on their own to deal with like a traumatic experience? So I don't think either of those choices is wrong. And I'm not exactly sure how much time would I need if I really went through it. Would I want to talk about it, right after it happened to let me process it? Or would I need some time for myself? I'm not sure, but I don't think there is specifically any harm in talking about it either, if you can bring yourself to do it.
You might be right, my lady. I'll tell you what happened. It was terrible and unexpected. The day started just like any other. Father sent me into town on some errands.
Okay.
I went to the tavern to buy ale for Father. I know it's a job for a groom, but I didn't mind, because my girl Bianca worked there. I courted her a while and we agreed to meet in the evening, but our meeting was never to happen.
Oh, dear boy.
When I'd done all the errands, I headed back home. I promised Father I'd help him with his work, and I was looking forward to it. He was forging a sword for Sir Robard.
I have a +3 bonus to charisma.
Father and I always chat in the forge. On that particular day, I asked him if he'd teach me swordsmanship. He said no. He said it's better for a man to keep his head on his shoulders than lose it over some pointless heroism. If only you'd known what fate had in store for us.
Oh.
But Sigismund's horde was already on the horizon, ready to attack the town.
Because she's highborn, right? And I have that perk that gives me +3 when talking to highborn people.
I saw smoke on the horizon from a village Sigismund pillaged on the way to our town, which was soon to meet the same fate.
God have mercy.
And then death descended on Skalitz.
Did the Deutsch try to fight back?
The gate to the castle was open. The bells and horns sounded the alarm, and the villagers ran to the castle to take cover. They were carrying the few possessions they could grab in haste, and I saw the terror in their eyes.
I can't even imagine how awful it must have been.
I ran to the castle like our neighbours to take cover, but I didn't make it. I had to find another way to save myself. The men on the battlements called down to me to flee to Talmberg and warn you. I was lucky I knew a concealed path around the castle. I wasn't safe yet. The Cumans were going from house to house below the castle, looting and then torching them. They encircled the castle, and it was clear they could spot me at any moment.
May God punish them.
Then I heard a scream. It was Teresa, the mill wench. She'd been caught by a gang of Cuman savages who planned to violate her. I had Sir Radzig's sword, and even though there were several of them and they were better armed, I had to try and save her. I wanted there to be at least one person I'd helped. And I succeeded, even though it almost cost me my life. After that, I stole a horse from them and rode off.
Like a valiant knight.
I'll never forget the horror. It will haunt me for the rest of my life.
That's terrible. How could something like that happen?
God alone knows why he lets such things happen.
Oh, you poor boy. I understand your grief, but God is not to blame for the ills of this world. That is the work of Satan and those who do his bidding. Those who are corrupted by greed, envy, and pride. You must not lose faith, whatever life brings. Fate has not been merciful to me, and my husband either. Although in comparison to the horrors you went through. I was young when I married my husband. It was my father's wish. Divish was a lot older than I, but a woman must bear her lot. Shortly after our marriage, before I even got a look at Talmberg, the castle was stormed and my husband was imprisoned.
Really?
My husband had some quarrel with Sir Havel Medek of Valdek, who decided to resolve it by force. He stormed the castle, burned down the village of Pribyslavitz, and killed many of our men, even the old chamberlain. He imprisoned my husband in the castle and put his own garrison there.
That's awful.
I was barely 18 years old, and all of a sudden, I was left alone with Sir Robard. We didn't know what to do. We went to Prague to appeal to the king and sought help from Divish's friends, but all to no avail. We tried for years, but it seemed I was destined to be left alone and my husband to rot in jail in his own castle.
Years, you say?
7 years. That's how long it took before Havel was condemned as an enemy of the crown. And even then, he refused to surrender the castle and release my husband. In the end, I raised the money to pay a ransom, and only then, by the grace of Lord Jesus, did I finally lay eyes on my husband once more.
7 years? And was Havel punished for it?
Never. And after 7 years, my husband returned to me an infirm old man.
Sir Divish seems like a good, strong man.
Certainly, only he has many concerns. He had to rebuild Talmberg. After he was released, the king appointed him Burgrave of Prague Castle, and he was very busy. He had no time for me at all. But at least we were in the city. There was something going on. And now, we're here.
My lady, you're still young and beautiful. Your best years are still ahead of you.
Would that that were true, lad. Would it were true. But what am I doing bothering you with this? You have troubles enough of your own. I'll go and let you sleep. I enjoyed our little talk, Henry. Good night, and God bless.
Good night, my lady. I feel quite...
Move in, people! Come on! Come on! We're running out of time! Quickly! We have to close the gates! You can't go back!
Henry, help us!
Help us, son. Don't be a coward. Henry, wake up. You don't want to miss this.
What is it? What's happening?
Come to the battlements. One of our patrols reported a company heading here from Skalitz.
Go to the battlements. Okay. Take the torch from the table. How do I use it? May it be a light for you in dark places when all other lights go out. That is a quote from Lord of the Rings. That is what Galadriel said to Frodo when she was giving him the light of her land, the light of her. How do you say that? The thingamajig that she gave him. So that's what she said. That's pretty much verbatim. Oh, okay. I guess he took it out on his own. I'm supposed to go to the battlements. I can't sprint while overloaded.
Maybe. Only all they have to do is lean on some Skalitz serf and he'll happily tell them everything.
I didn't think of that.
Not that I'm spoiling for a fight, but if I have to choose a place for one, then right here behind solid walls is it.
True enough.
We might not even hold out against the first offensive.
Talmberg's a strong castle, though. It can handle a siege.
The best thing would be to join forces with Skalitz and wipe Sigismund's bastards off the face of the earth.
That's probably why they attacked so quick, so we wouldn't have time to join forces.
Aye, you might be right. For sure Sigismund ain't no fool. A backstabbing swine, maybe. But no fool.
You're right there.
You can't see anything from the battlements anyway, so why did I come here? Well, I guess if the party, if they are carrying torches themselves, I would probably be able to see that.
Good day to you.
You know what's happening?
Fucking Sigismund.
You sure?
I overheard a scout Divish sent to see how things looked in Skalitz. It's Sigismund's soldiers for sure. Fucking Sigismund.
Farewell. Hey. God be with you.
Do you know what's happening?
I don't know, but I think I saw horsemen. Probably Sigismund and his mercenaries come to raid us. Good luck to you.
But why does Sir Divish do not want to talk to me? Because I'm supposed to talk to Sir Robard. Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
God be with you.
What's happening? Have you heard anything?
No. It could be Sigismund's army or his scouts. Or maybe Skalitz folk who survived the pillaging. I wouldn't expect nothing good.
Take care.
Good day to you. What do you need?
What's happening? Have you heard anything?
No. Could be Sigismund's army, or... Farewell.
Good day to you. What do you need?
Okay, it's grayed out, so he will have the same response as the ones from before. So let's talk to Sir Robard then. Although I can't still can't see anything past the walls.
What's going on?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Why would Sigismund advance on Talmberg in the night? Especially since he's lost the element of surprise after the raid on Skalitz.
Maybe it's not him.
Then who is it? The scouts Divish sent to Skalitz to spy on Sigismund said he'd set up camp and was getting ready to storm the castle. And so Radzig is an experienced soldier. He'd surely hold the castle for quite some time. It doesn't make sense.
What else did the spies see?
Not much of anything. Before they could get close enough, this huge storm started. And you were right. Sigismund has a hell of a lot of soldiers, including all manner of mercenaries. An army like that costs a fortune. Well, anyway, we'll find out when they get here, won't we?
Aye, we will.
God be with you.
Yusuf and all his minions. Who else, Robard?
Sir Ansig, what a relief.
Is his lordship there with you?
Yes, sir, he is right here.
What are you doing up so late, Divish? At your age, you need a good night's sleep.
Well, Radzik, you didn't exactly pick the best time for an outing either. In a big hurry?
It was a bit of a scramble, all right. Believe it or not, this tempest is a godsend for me and my men. As my old granddad used to say, better a sore throat than a slit throat.
I'd say your grandfather was a wise man. Your messenger told us what happened.
Messenger?
The lad you sent to warn us.
He's alive? He made it to you?
He's here with me. He only got away by the skin of his teeth, though.
Thank God.
A brave young man. But tell me, friend, how on earth did you manage to get away?
Thank God for this tempest. When it began, Sigismund's Tatars crawled into their holes and left a storm into the castle for more clement weather. We were able to sneak out right under their noses. The Lord be praised. We wouldn't have stood a chance against them.
Would you like to spend the night in Talmberg?
No, no. When Sigismund finds the castle empty tomorrow, he might come looking for us. We'd only be exposing you to danger. Without me and my men, he has no call to attack you.
What will you do then?
We'll march to Ratai. It's only a short way, and there we'll have a better chance of defense and enough room for all of these people. If Sigismund should come, better bend your knee, Divish. There's no point dying in a battle that's futile.
You're right there.
Is that boy still with you?
I'm here, sir.
You have courage, lad. That I can't deny. I am sorry about what happened. Would you care to join us?
I'd like to, sir, but first I have to return to Skalitz.
Are you mad? What do you want there?
I can't leave my mother and father. I won't leave their corpses rotting in the street. I'll join you once I've taken care of them.
Don't even think of going back there, you donkey. Are you tired of living?
But sir!
Quiet! I'm sorry about your father, but getting killed as well won't help him. Divish, make sure that lad doesn't budge from Talmberg until things quieten down.
Not to worry, friend. Anyway, he's injured and needs to recover. I'll lock him up here as if he were Havel of Baldic.
I've seen you've grown a thick skin since your tribulation, sir. But thank you. We'll meet again when circumstances are more favorable. Farewell.
Farewell, friend, and good fortune. Give my regards to Sir Hanush.
I will. And good luck to you and your people, too. These are dark times. Move out!
Anywhere, people! Move out! It's only a short way to Ratai now!
Men, tonight we'll have triple patrols. Sort out the watches between you as always. And if I catch anyone boozing, playing dice or slacking off, I'll personally break every bone in his body. I want you to keep a close eye on everything nearby. Sigismund will surely have sent spies, and likely men as well, to follow the Skalitz people now he knows they've fled. Keep your eyes peeled, and report everything to me at once. Understood? And
what is it you need?
I could use an extra pair of eyes, and yours are keen. Will you keep watch at the battlements with my men?
Is that a request or an order?
I'd rather it was a request you answered yes to.
Of course I'll help. I'll have to pay you back somehow after all you've done for me.
Splendid. And don't worry. I'll tell the men to relieve you later. Good luck to you.
Okay, so I'm supposed to walk the battlements. But to be honest, I don't see anything. Like, even if somebody was sneaking on, you know, outside the walls, I wouldn't be able to tell unless he would be carrying a torch himself, but obviously that's a very stupid thing to do for a spy. Yeah, I'm not sure how much of a help will I be, really. I guess there's something happening down there. The nights in this game are very dark. Okay, I'm not sure how far am I supposed to be going? Like, am I supposed to be going all the way around?
Wandering around like a stray sheep. Must be your first watch, eh? I don't think anything much will be happening today. You can just lean against the wall and wait till morning. I'll show you what's what.
I will. Thank you.
So, is it a tutorial for waiting? Wait until morning. Okay. Are we going anywhere specific? Do I need a particular place to wait?
Look out!
Actually, about the Skalitz folk fleeing, I find it improbable that they all left the castle via, I suppose, some hidden back door. But that in itself is not weird. A lot of castles had those, specifically for such a thing, or like for making a sortie, a surprise attack on the actual besiegers. But what I find improbable is that the Cumans had no sentries. I understand they didn't want to attack in such a bad weather, but surely they would have kept watch at the very least. And there were dozens of people in that group. They didn't notice a single one of them.
What do you think about how the Skalitz folk managed to flee the siege?
Thank the Lord. I thought it was Sigismund descending on us.
It seems everyone thought that.
Well, we were all expecting the worst. And the truth is, I'm still worried what will happen when Sigismund comes here. And come he will, of that I'm sure. I just hope we'll be as fortunate when we're face to face with that fucker. By the way, Henry, my condolences.
Thank you.
Take care.
What do you think about how the Skalitz folk managed to get away?
Fortune smiled on him, that's for certain. Sigismund must be seething with rage.
It's just a shame Fortune didn't smile on all of them.
Oh, shit. Sorry. And you know Sir Robard?
I wouldn't say I know him. I've seen him a few times. Why do you ask?
He must be a fine lord. Takes such good care of every one of his serfs.
Surely all the lords do that.
Ah. I could tell you some stories.
About Sir Divish?
Jesus, no. I didn't mean it like that. Just that I heard stories from other soldiers that would make your skin crawl.
I see.
Take care now.
Okay, I'm supposed to wait until the morning, but how do I do that in all actuality? Like, do I do it from this? Yeah, skip time, T. Okay. Okay. I might have a snack as well. So, let's sort by condition and eat something that's, close-ish to spoiling. Okay. And how much time do you want to skip? Or how much do I need until the morning? Like, I guess 7 or 8 hours. I guess the cutscene will probably enable once enough time has passed.
Let's go! Let's go! Move it! Quick! Go! Go!
Quickly, we have visitors.
Where are we going?
See how the self-appointed king wins the love and respect of his loyal subjects.
Indeed, Robard. Sigismund of Luxembourg has a rare talent for winning people over to his cause. We may be in for a surprise, though. I don't think he will set his heathen dogs on us today.
Greetings, Lord of Talmberg.
That's the bastard who led the attack at Skalitz and killed my parents.
Don't be an idiot. Do you want to end up like them?
I am Sir Markwart von Aulitz. I come in the name of Sigismund of Luxembourg, King of Hungary and Croatia, who has resolved to strike against those who disrupt concord in the land and to restore order in the name of his brother, King Wenceslaus IV.
Restore order by burning and pillaging the king's estates.
Greetings, Sir Markwart. The efforts of the king's brother to bring order to this chaotic land are undoubtedly noble. It seems to me, though, that he and his army have somewhat strayed. As Burgrave of Prague Castle, I am entirely beholden to the king, and here in Talmberg divine peace reigned until your arrival. To what then do we owe the honor of your visit?
Yesterday, His Majesty took action against the enemy of the kingdom, Sir Robard Kobila, who has been using the silver from the Skalitz mine to fund insurrection against the crown. Unfortunately, the insurgent escaped. Would you happen to know, noble sir, where he might be at this time?
As far as I know, the Sir Radzik of which you speak is the king's hetman at Skalitz. I find it hard to imagine that he would rebel against our king. Nevertheless, I can assure you that Sir Radzik is not at Talmberg. He would be a fool indeed to flee from one castle, where he has little chance of defense, to another, where he has even less. Or do you take the view that my humble manner is any obstacle to your army?
Am I to inform the king then that Sir Robard Kobila is not at Talmberg and that he has your loyalty?
Sir Radzik Kobila is not here, and I have no intentions of getting embroiled in affairs from which I have nothing to gain.
Very well, sir. As you wish. I will relay your words to the king in the hope he will be as well disposed as you seem to be.
Those who have clean consciences and goodwill may find themselves well disposed even at moments like this, when there is little cause for joy. Farewell, sir.
Auf Wiedersehen.
My lord, you have my utmost admiration.
Get on with you, Robard.
Bury your loved ones in Skalitz. Get a horse. Okay. But also talk to Sir Robard, right? Let's start with that.
My respects to you.
Although, you know what? No, let's not do it like that. Because this episode has been a little too long already, and who knows how long this conversation is going to take. I would like to just talk about two things before I end. First, I have like this slight feeling that the Lady of Talmberg, what's her name? Lady... I forgot, but Lord Divish's wife, I have a feeling she might be like hitting on me or something, because obviously it's pretty weird in itself that she went in the middle of the night to talk to a commoner, but what she said specifically seemed to imply that she is unhappy in her marriage to Lord Divish, because there's such a great age difference between them, and like he's too old for her, maybe down to the fact that he's not as virile as he was, and he can't like he can't, or he doesn't even feel the need to like perform in bed with her, and obviously she's younger, so she probably still has needs like that. I just find it weird that she went specifically to see me in the middle of the night, and the whole tale seems to imply that she's somewhat unhappy with the age difference between her and her wife and her husband. And another thing, it's like hilariously bold-faced lie that Sigismund is telling, that supposedly he's fighting in the name of his brother Wenceslaus IV, but he has imprisoned his own brother to claim his kingdom. And the reason, I imagine, why he attacked Skalitz, well, I guess was twofold. First of all, it's a town that had a silver mine, so obviously there's a lot of resources to be gained. But also from the intro, from the prologue, it seemed that Sir Radzig is like a stalwart supporter of Wenceslaus, and most people in Skalitz were supporters of Wenceslaus and were talking like disparagingly about Sigismund. So that's I find it hilarious, because it's a level, like it's such a complete reversal of truth that it's actually ridiculous. It's ridiculous that someone who would have like the goal to sort of to present such an upturned image of the world, where he claims to be doing the exact opposite of what he's actually doing. But regardless, this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to pause it here. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.